We're the Royals, the 2012 Division 2 champions, and you're watching Gridiron Victoria television. That's
Thanks for joining us for another episode of Gridiron Victoria TV, the show that brings you the best American football being played on these shores. In today's show, we'll go over all the action from weeks 11 to 14. We'll take an in-depth look at the Western Crusaders and we'll find out what it means to be a Berwick Miner. Let's kick off the show in Corio.
The day started out with a highly anticipated clash between the Melbourne Uni Royals and Northern Raiders that was a low-scoring affair that went in favour of the Royals. Then in the afternoon, the home side, the Bay City Buccaneers, hosted the Monash Warriors, the top two sides in Div 1 going up against each other for the first time since round 1. The Warriors' ever-ready running team played a huge role in gaining yards over the Bucks, Ben Curley in the centre of it all. The experienced Warrior veteran quarterback Dom Dearman couldn't connect to his receivers as often as coach Mark Levin would desire. The injuries Pegwin had on his Warrior side were evident when the Bucks took the lead and the extra point. The numbers game was playing a huge role in their struggle to score that eventually did through this Dom Dearman pass to Ed Tate. The final score was 7-6 to the Buccaneers in a game that played a huge part leading into Vic Bowl season. In the next fixture, the Monash Barbarians knew they had a mental edge over the Gippsland Gladiators 2011 Vic Bowl runners-up, and Ralph Maggio's Barbs finished the Glad season that was ravaged with numbers issues. Final score 14-6.
We actually lost to them in the first game of the season, and that set us off on a bad start to the season, and it was just great to bounce back.
Then later that day, the Division 1 game saw the Western Crusaders host the Berwick Miners, who had their hands full early on, knowing international running back Tyson Garnham was in hot form. But despite the early momentum, a schoolboy mistake gave the Berwick Miners an early lead away in Footscray. But the locals' running game was simply too strong. The strength was obvious when fullback Damien Griffin made this impressive run on 3rd and 30. The crew would convert and their running game caught the Berwick Miners in no man's land, and even caught our cameraman having to readjust when following this incredible Tyson Garnham run. This capped off a runaway game for the crew, 26 points to 14.
Oh yeah, definitely. Look, there's definitely positives to take away from it. I mean, the crew, they've got a strong outfit this year. Us, we've got a lot of young guys training them up. But no, look, a lot of positives to take out of it. It hurts losing like we did, but yeah, definitely can take a lot of positives out of it.
The next week, Gridiron was back in Footscray, and this time around the Division 2 game of the day was between the Croydon Stars and Northern Raiders. Warren Gephardt's Raiders were never really challenged by a Stars outfit that had 15 players to a side. With most of the Croydon team playing both offence and defence, the physicality of the game was too much for the Stars, and gaps were huge in the Stars' D. This may have been a marking point that has the Stars' existence in questioning that would be a huge blow to a highly regarded club in the Rangers. The Raiders won a game that was always in their sights. Final score 30-0.
The Stars have been having what some people would call a shocker this season.
Yeah.
To do with numbers and injury, how do you think the next season, next year, will there be a Stars side?
We're not too sure at this moment. I'm not too sure as well, but it's just really going to depend how we go next season and our organisation, if we're going to have people to manage it properly and we have the numbers and the commitment from everyone who's going to come down and play.
The Rangers have started a trend to kick off the game with an onside kick, and that's exactly what they achieved early on against the Crusaders. The Rangers knew if they lost today, they'd miss their first final series in 13 years. Their superstar running back Jamie Stafford showed the Rangers determination early on, and then when Mark Ursu found Maddie McKay, their finals aspirations looked very much intact. But with the Crusaders' comeback starting to trend, their running game would once more come into play. Damien Griffin getting his TD and Tyson Garnham getting another. It looked like the Croydon Rangers were out of the finals race. As hard as they tried to push their way back into a hard-fought battle, and as hard as Mark Fairweather tried to cool down his boys to get the required scores, the home side took home a victory that would shut out their opponents. Final score 20-6.
Well, because we won against them last time, everyone was pretty confident that we'll do it again. You know, a bit disappointing the last couple of weeks. We didn't play how we should have, but everyone rocked up at training and we put in the work. So yeah, it was a good win.
The next week, the two biggest sides of each division would play each other for the only time this season at the Royals' home ground where they hosted the Monash Warriors. A world of terrific home support didn't do much in the way of stopping a wave of Warriors coming their way. Ed Tate scored the first TD and Dan Levin didn't want the Div 1 Giants to run all over his side, but that's exactly what happened. Heath Decker found this gap in the Royals' D despite Benjamin Ly's best efforts. Oddly enough, Darcy Muller took the spot of Blair Black as quarterback, which proved to be a mistake of many that gave the Warriors even more points. It was an absolute blowout, but both sides could keep their chins held high coming into the final season. Then later that day, the Gippsland Gladiators and Croydon Rangers would take a muddy Royal Park after the champs went at it and played out a game that would mean very little to both sides due to the fact both sides couldn't make their respected final series. Towards the end, it seems the Rangers held off against the Glads and played the big boys out of position, but nothing could stop an eager Rangers side in taking home a huge 49-0 victory in Parkville.
I think it was always nice to get on the end of your best passes. Everyone knows he's a really good quarterback, so yeah, when the ball's right there, you've got to catch it.
It's one of those games where we came in, we had a tough loss last week. We want to make sure that we executed early on. I was really lucky to get a couple of good passes to Maddie, broke some tackles.
Marco wrapping things up there. You're watching GVTV and we'll be right back after the break.
Hi, my name is Oscar Fernando Cisneros. I'm the captain of the Warriors, and you're still watching Gridiron TV, 31.
A real surprise package this season has been the Western Crusaders. They've secured a spot against the Monash Warriors in the preliminary finals and gone from being a mediocre side to being a true contender for the Vic Bowl. I caught up with the crew to find out more.
The Western Crusaders have existed since 1997, but go back further in GV history than some would know.
The Western Crusaders evolved from the Westside Vikings. In 1999 we became the Western Crusaders. We won the grand final that year. We backed it up, went in 2000. And then had a bit of success, quite a bit of success after that, making finals every year until 2007, where we had our best season ever, went undefeated to a championship. yeah, then we basically rebuilt a side because the amount of guys that retired and the guys that were there then, the young guys, they're starting to step up now and take us to that next level.
Not many of the championship team have stuck around from the title-winning game against the Warriors all those years ago, but a new breed of Crusaders may have the opposition underestimating them.
Yeah, look, I mean, everyone does always underestimate what the Crew are capable of. They do have a pretty good history in regards to winning championships, so I think the last couple of years maybe we've dropped off come finals time, but this year we've definitely got the coaching staff and the guys on the team to go all the way, so I guess the only people that can stop us are ourselves, and we just got to stay united as one to get the job done.
Too many fights for too long. You work your soul to sleep, was too late to call. Got to get moving. The brotherhood and camaraderie in the Footscray-based club plays a huge role to their success.
Hugely important. I love this club. The minute I walked in at the start of last year, it was just a different feel to any other club that I've played in before. Everyone's really close. It's a lot of fun to play and train, and it just makes me want to come back.
Played with Ballarat last year. I was the president and founder there, but things went to dust, so yeah, I had a few guys here, friends, who suggested, come on, it's not too bad a trip.
They have a lot to be proud of, and their post-victory song makes sure the opposition know how proud they really are.
Yeah, very close group. The chant, I think it's an old African or South African tribal chant, which I think from Mark Bennett is our lead karaoke singer on that one, and he does the funny stuff. So yeah, it's been going on for I think at least a couple of decades that Mark and the boys have been involved. There's full meaning behind it, I'm not too sure, but yeah, look, we are a close-knit group. We've got the Western Foxes now. It's a part of the organisation, so we've added a third team when you count the juniors, so growing and trying to just, keep everything on the move.
Who really knows what will come of the Crew next season? Post-season, the club's attention will go to their women's and junior sides.
Now we've had a look at the Western Crusaders, let's check out all the highlights from week 14 when they hosted the Bay City Buccaneers.
The Crusaders faced a huge challenge that they couldn't complete at home a few weeks earlier in Footscray, that challenge being the 2011 champions, the Bay City Buccaneers in Reservoir. The Bucks were expecting all that the Crew threw at them. The famous running game was lost when Gary Wilson's defence had something to say about it. Denham Hayter, playing in as quarterback for John Johnston, found Evan Norbury and got the yards going early on. His contributions eventually paid off and got the points on the board when it mattered most. It really was the beginning of the end for the Crew, and surely sent a message to the Crew, and Warriors for that matter, going into the final series. Final score 40-0.
Well, we had a really great game as far as the offensive line. Being a fullback, having our offensive line play in coordinated and timely fashion was a really good change for us.
I think it all came together quite well. We had really solid training sessions throughout the week. Everyone's getting there, and I think everyone's starting to really get some focus on the Vic Bowl at this time of year.
We just played hard and fast pretty much all day. Our system works really well against teams that want a zone run against us. The defensive line were solid, always hitting their gaps. They never really got blown off the ball, which made it really easy for the linebackers and safeties for run support.
This was an important game for us. Securing this game has gotten us straight into the Vic Bowl. Considering the next game we have is against a Division 2 team that we've pretty much put away. So we're pretty happy that we've got this one away. We came into this game, unsure about how we were going to go. The last time we had a different lineup. They had a different lineup. Every time you play a team, it's a completely different game. but I think we sent a real good message out to the league that the Bucks are here, we're in the Vic Bowl again, and we're going to take that trophy 2 years in a row.
Stern words there from Daniel Tinatelli, not as boisterous as we're used to. After the break, we'll take a look at the Berwick Miners and all the action from week 14.